11 prisoners dead, 35 on the run. Hegani Clan in Hela MARCH to end tribal fighting. And Governor Parkop reiterates calls for city residents to comply.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and welcome to Saturday's news. 11 prison escapees are dead and 35 are still at large following a mass prison break at the Buimo jail in Lae. Lae Metropolitan Commander Chris Kunyanban said police are still searching for the escapees on the run and has called on the public to assist with information. This morning, one of the injured escapees was captured by police. Lucy Kopana reports from Lae. Lae's Metropolitan Commander Chris Kunyanban confirmed that 47 inmates fled from the prison vicinity at around 1 p.m. yesterday. Police are now searching for 35 of the escapees.
The initial inquiry that we made, the escape, they pretended that someone was sick. They took him over to the post and they attacked the CS officers with knives and slingshot, and they dashed for freedom.
In 2017, 70 prisoners escaped from the Buimo prison. 16 were shot dead. Out of the 47 inmates who escaped yesterday, 35 are at large and 11 dead. While sources say the 11 were shot dead, Kunyanban says it is subject to investigation.
That's for the coroner to determine the cause of the death, and about 11 of them being found.
This morning, one of the injured escapees was captured. 10 of the escapees were convicted prisoners, while 37 are remandees waiting for their court hearings and trials. This is the second prison breakout at the Buimo prison this year. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lae. A decision on Richard Namalu's sentence is expected to be handed down by the Hegani National Court at the end of this month. The state is asking for the convicted murderer to be given jail time of more than 15 years. This comes after Namalu's lawyers asked for the court to impose a sentence between 3 to 5 years or be on a suspended sentence. Submissions on the sentencing were made before Justice Teresa Barragan yesterday, and a decision has been reserved. Namalu, 28 years of age, from Raluana village in Parkop, East New Britain province, was convicted for manslaughter causing the death of Ruby and Laufa in February 2017. The court found him guilty on 20th March this year and charged him with criminal negligence. Namalu's sentencing will come 3 years after he was initially charged for the murder of his then girlfriend Ruby and Laufa, a former Miss PNG and a law graduate. The Hegani clans of Tebi LLG in Taripori electorate, Hela province, are demanding their district administration and Prime Minister James Marape to intervene and stop the gruesome tribal fighting between the Toria and Erepe clans, as well as many other fights in the district. This was part of a petition presented yesterday after a protest march by men, women and children in Tari town. The vocal protesters said they have had enough of tribal fighting as it was causing fear and panic in the area.
A huge crowd of protesters from the Hegani clans of Tebi LLG marched yesterday, holding up placards and chanting words of hope that there will be an end to violence and tribal fighting in the LLG and district. In the petition addressed to Prime Minister and Taripori MP James Marape, the protesters want the Prime Minister's active leadership immediately to chart a transparent approach for their communities seeking to take back Tebi LLG from the reign of terror. The petition reported that on the 6th of July this year, 2 innocent people were killed in a dawn raid of a family home in Pangubi village by armed men from Toria clan. A series of murders then ensued. The total number of human lives lost in this fight now stands at 29. The total deaths reported from only 3 of many fights in the district is at 234. The protesters claimed that their district administration had displayed indecisiveness against numerous heartless matters related to tribal fights. They say the status quo prolongs fear and terror in their communities and also denies their participation in the district development plan and ward development plans. The immediate community actions that the Hegani clans would like to carry out are as follows. Conduct community awareness in Tebi LLG to stand against violence. Place stop signs along clan boundaries to stop trespassing and murder of innocent people by the Toria and Erepe clans. Organizing of a community security plan to restore basic, vital community services, particularly education and health. And on August 15th, the community will commence developing a roadmap for the transformation of the 11 Hegani clans without the fighting parties. Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
Members of a community in Leh have raised concerns over an underage drinking incident involving a 17-year-old girl employed by a foreigner. The girl's parents reported the matter to the police. However, it was settled out of court because the girl told the police that she was in a relationship with her employer. According to Leh's Metropolitan Commander, Chief Superintendent Chris Konyanban, the offender in this case, the 17-year-old girl, hasn't been arrested due to the confusion between the Criminal Act and the Lukautim Pikinini Act.
Members of the community of Tale compound in Leh gathered outside the factory following up on an incident that was reported to the police on the weekend concerning a relationship between the employer and his 17-year-old female employee. The girl was caught drinking alcohol with her employer of Chinese origin by her parents. The parents laid a complaint at the Omili police station against the foreign employer. The offender was released as both parties agreed to settle it out of court.
Since it was of interest to us, the victim and the parents were taken into the office today, so this afternoon, and they were interviewed by myself and the people responsible for the sexual offences squad. And we find, after our interrogation, we found that the victim is above the age of 16, which is under the criminal code. She's a grown-up, and under the Lukautim Pikinini Act, it was still under the age of 18. It's a bit tricky here, but before the incident transpired, she in fact had a marital relationship with one of the people at the settlement where she lives. So in saying that and looking at the circumstances, we can see that she's grown in terms of understanding the relationships that she had. We also had to talk to some certain individuals regarding this issue, and that issue will be pursued further to see how best we can handle the situation. So the matter, I would say, is still under investigation. So the parties, both parties, there's nothing much the law has done so far in terms of getting this person arrested. At the moment, by law, there's nothing much that we can do with him, but yes, we're looking at other laws that can protect this young woman from exploitation.
This is a foreign-owned factory operating near the Bumbu River in Leh, trading at Sunny Food Limited that produces the Lipo drink. In 2018, the factory was alleged to have breached the government's rules and regulations with the building and the health and safety measures.
A very serious concern what the foreigners are doing in this country. When they come into Papua New Guinea, they must understand that there's a law in place. And the way they perform their business in Papua New Guinea, they are not doing it in a way that Papua New Guinea democratic country, this according to what the Papua New Guinea government is doing, what the law said. So when the incident happened here is at the night. This kind of incident shouldn't happen because the Papua New Guinean young ladies shouldn't be taken as taken into a factory where they produce lipo and all that thing.
There are other laws that were breached and investigations are still ongoing.
And also, there is no formal complaint been laid for that matter. We questioned the parents this afternoon and the victim herself. The relationship that they had is a concerted relationship, meaning to say that the young woman decided to have a relationship with the employer, which in a sense that is wrong, because employee they're having relationship. The circumstances can be a bit different. It can be on the perception that the owner of the company can be using his position, which we do not have evidence at this stage. But like I said earlier, we will look into it and see how the circumstances will help us to say if there was a breach of any law.
The Labour Department office in Lae has also stepped in to assist the police with the matter reported. Julie Badui, Owa, National EMTV News, Lae.
Following an independent analysis by experts engaged by the East Sepik provincial government, recommendations were made for further consultation on the operation of the Freedom Mine. Calls were made to the Conservation and Environment Protection Authority, or SEPA, to widen community engagement with all villagers along the Sepik River to collect their views on the opening of the mine. The threat on disposing mine waste into the Sepik River has become a concern for villagers in Ambunti Drekike, Wasseragawi and Angaram districts, where locals depend on the Sepik River. A statement released by Governor Alan Bird as chairman of the East Sepik Provincial Assembly suggested options of underground mining with mine tailing disposals to be deposited in a deep-sea trench between Aitape and Vanimo. These concerns have come about following a meeting between members of the East Sepik Provincial Assembly in Wewak. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back. With NCD declared the epicenter of the coronavirus, Governor Parkop has urged the cooperation of all city residents. Governor Parkop says the pandemic has challenged all sectors to survive with impacts of loss of jobs, health system and national security, among others. Parkop urged residents to follow the orders and other preventative measures enacted by the National Command Centre.
The nation's capital is now faced with an increasing number of COVID-19 cases in what health critics say the second wave of the global pandemic. NCD Governor Parkop says authorities are doing all it takes to stop community transmission. Parkop says the pandemic has affected all sectors.
COVID-19 has not just given us a medical problem or challenge that we have to overcome, but it has become a national security challenge. It has economic implication, it has employment implication, it has educational implication, it also has a security implication and so many other implications. These are challenges that the government has to manage.
While more emphasis was stressed to practice hand washing and healthy living, negligence by the public to adhere to authorities is a concern for levels of government. The Mosby South MP reiterated for the cooperation of all residents as the pandemic remains a threat.
We all have to partner each other, we all have to work with each other, and we all have to respect each other. And I look forward with working closely with Governor in my district, in my electorate, to ensure that we fulfill the obligations of the government and the NCDC so that our people can live as much a normal life as possible. That's the whole idea. That's the key.
NCD is working with the National Operations Centre in addressing and making efforts to contain the virus. Governor Parkop says residents must not take chances but abide by laws outlined by the controller and health authorities. He wants residents to change their ignorant ways of living, which is likely to contract diseases and other illnesses.
Before. Unhealthy and unhygienic person before. Spread boy go come here. Sa was na meeting hero ya. There's not person here and by losing.
Jagla Power Jr. National EMTV News.
Controller of the National Pandemic, David Manning, has given approval for 175 Chinese citizens to return to PNG to complete major government projects around the country. Manning said these are important construction managers and workers engaged in major government infrastructures, including hydropower station, provincial airport redevelopments and major highways, among others. Manning said these workers were stranded since the outbreak of COVID-19 and need to get back to complete these projects, which are funded by various international finance institutions, including the Asian Development Bank. He said the 175 persons will, upon their return, undergo 14 days quarantine in designated hotels and will also be required to do a mandatory 7-day medical check before flying into the country. NCD police will be enforcing 3 main measures under COVID-19 restrictions to prevent the spread of the virus. They include the mandatory wearing of face masks in public areas, the sale of alcohol on certain days, and social distancing measures on public transport. Similar measures are being implemented in other provinces that have recorded confirmed cases of COVID-19.
We're dealing with a global pandemic, a virus that has infected over 16 million people worldwide and claimed the lives of...
From the COVID-19 measures announced by the National Command Center, the police in Port Moresby will enforce 3 main restrictions. This is their response in support of the Health Department to fight against the local transmission of COVID-19. Curfew in NCD will continue from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. every day until the 17th of August.
NCD police will continue to enforce the following measures. 1. Measure number 9, business and social measures. 2. Measure number 10, mandatory face mask wearing. And 3, measure number 11, public transport in the city.
Port Moresby has become an epicenter with the outbreak of COVID-19 in more than 5 suburbans. As of yesterday, there are 180 active cases of coronavirus in country. 75% of the active cases are reported in Port Moresby. While NCD police will be enforcing COVID-19 restrictions, city residents are advised to follow COVID-19 measures.
People will be locked up at police station when you are out and about 1:10. Vehicles will be impounded if you are moving out and about after 10 and before 5 a.m. Social distancing. While it is very difficult to impose, by law, we shouldn't be more than 50 gathering. By law, we shouldn't be any more than 15 in a public water transport.
For business houses, especially shops, the management is required to install sinks to encourage hand-washing habits before customers enter the shops. Similar measures are enforced at the National and Supreme Court houses, where the filling of contact tracing forms and the wearing of face masks are a requirement.
Our job is to support the provincial health authorities, awareness team. We've done that from day one. We'll continue to do so. We'll continue to disperse crowd, especially roadside markets, that we can see that they're building up to more than 50. While it's difficult to apprehend and charge those violators, we will do so. Many times so far, we've used our discretion and inform and advise our people to disperse instead of gathering within 2 meters.
Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, the Road Traffic Authority has warned PMV operators to follow COVID-19 preventative measures outlined by the National Command Centre. Chief Executive Officer Nelson Terema told EMTV enforcement units including police will be on the road to monitor PMV operations in the city. He warned of revoking PMV licenses for those who ignore traffic rules and SOE laws.
Relevant authorities, police, RT enforcement unit, NCDC, bus terminal warrants, and the PMB association will all be working together to making sure that all these orders are fully enforced or implemented. If any PMB operator or taxi breaking some of these orders, we will be very hard on them. One way is to revoke their licenses. The licenses belongs to the government and making sure that you comply with these orders. If you don't comply, we will revoke your license. So the owners need to understand this. This is a time where we need the cooperation from everyone.
Chukai Sports is next. Kila will join you after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Defending and 5 times PNG National Soccer League champion Ley City Football Club is demanding an explanation from the National Soccer League and the PNG Football Association on alleged breach of protocols. This follows Hegani United Football Club owner Vonika Pinato's claim that Ley City FC players Nigel Dabinyaba and Raymond Gunemba were free agents.
Ley City Football Club team manager Edrich Kumbua said there are regulations governing player transfer to another club within any season through the implementation of the window transfer period or WTP. Kumbua said this following the movement of Nigel Dabinyaba and Raymond Gunemba to Hegani United FC without submitting the release letter to Ley City FC. He said to date the duo are still listed in the Ley FC master list and have never used the WTP as the primary NSL regulative procedure to move to another club.
If Hegani wants those 2 players, all that they had to do in the window was to ask for. And they release at their request. We have no right to hold on to players. But because no one asked for them, we kept them in our master list, hoping that the prodigal sons will come back. If nobody takes them, we will take them back.
According to the Hegani United Football Club owner, Vonika Pinato, Ley FC players Nigel Dabinyaba and Raymond Gunemba are free agents.
There is no way like I employ people or I have the team and one of the players, I terminate him and he wants to play for another team. Me no got any power at all if come into football law.
5 months ago, Ley City Football Club franchiser Ian Chow sacked Ley FC coach Peter Gunemba for failing to discipline the players. 11 players also moved out of the club with Gunemba, including Nigel Dabinyaba and Raymond Gunemba. According to the acting manager for National Soccer League, Dimrit Milang, NSL made a decision to allow the duo to remain with Hegani United based on an email correspondence between Ley FC franchiser who told them to leave.
I got a letter from the secretary, the general secretary for PNGFA NSL, to directing us to remove their names in our master list and to explain how Saboa and other things. So I'm writing a letter to answer, because to say that the players have a right to move, we have no quarrels with that. My first sentence would be, yes, we will get the names out of our master list.
And that Chukai Sports report from Julie Badui-Oa in Ley. Kauka volleyball tournament officially started today. The tournament started with junior divisions in their round-robin games, moving away from the traditional full-season competition. This is to comply with COVID-19 measures.
Kirakira village in the nation's capital is home to Kauka Volleyball Association, who boasts of holding the Under-21 title for 3 consecutive years. With COVID-19 pandemic impacting the normal operations, the association has taken the round-robin option for the 2020 tournament instead of the traditional full-season competition.
Kauka Volleyball Association, we normally play a full season game. We're not able to do that, so we changed the approach to a round robin on a Saturday. We have about 12 clubs from the village and surrounding villages, and we've got 17 men's under 16 teams and 12 women's or girls teams.
The president believes the inclusion of the juniors is key to maintaining next crop of volleyballers to replace those that have moved on.
The under-16 concept was because our 21s are tipping off into open, and so we want to make sure that we are breathing the next lot of under-21s. And we're looking forward to the November Championships games with our back-to-backs hold our title again.
Rabura says there is more to volleyball for the Kauka communities.
It's important to mention that the aim of what we do is more for development of our communities that we're here. We're not just Kilakilas here, we are Keramas, we are Korikis, we are Kairukus. We all make the village of Kilakila.
The competition is supported by the councillor and the electorate member.
Thank you to our Honourable Minister, Justin Chachunko. He's been helpful to me and the hosting this event, putting 5,000 kina for the sponsorship, and the Minister Justin also chip in just to catch and kind for our children.
And that ends Trukai Sports for now. Helen will be back with the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, cloudy morning, clearing for mostly a fine day in Port Moresby. Mostly fine, though cloudy at times in Daru. Cloudy with a chance of occasional rain drizzles in Kerema. Mostly fine weather in Alotau, and mostly fine then possible afternoon showers in Popondita. In the Mamasa region, cloudy with rain showers and drizzles in Leh. Mostly fine, then chance of afternoon rain showers in Medang. Cloudy with rain showers and possible thunderstorms in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy with occasional rain showers in Lorengau and Kavieng. Mostly fine, then chance of afternoon rain showers in Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe. And mostly fine, then chance of afternoon rain showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, morning fog clearing, then mostly fine weather with possible afternoon showers in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kondiawa, and cloudy weather with possible showers in Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up tonight's bulletin. From all of us here at EMTV, pleasant viewing. Be safe. Good night.